Today we will see Baldur's death. Spoiler alert, Loki killed him. And listen until the end to see the reason behind earthquakes in Norse mythology. Let's see the things from the beginning. An important part of the Norse mythological narrative is the death of Baldur, and the string of repercussions resulting from this woeful incident. As the son of Odin and Frigg, Baldur was greatly revered and respected among the gods. He wasn't beloved just because of his lineage, though, as Baldur is described as a brave and generous character who was full of joy, which he brought with him everywhere he went. The events surrounding Baldur's death began when he started to have dreams that were foreshadowing a dark fate in the near future. This dream was taken as a message and a warning, not just by Baldur, but also by the other gods who became deeply concerned for Baldur's well-being. As such, Odin took it upon himself to discover the meaning of the dreams that his son was having. On this quest, Odin mounted his horse, Sleipnir, and rode all the way to the underworld to seek answers from a seeress who ended up there when she died. She was remembered as a seeress with an extraordinary ability to decipher dreams, so Odin knew he had to go to her. Before he arrived, Odin assumed one of his disguises in which he often traveled throughout the realms. Once he was there, Odin noticed that the halls of the underworld were adorned and prepared for a great feast. The seeress explained that the coming feast was prepared as a festivity of welcome for Baldur. She was implying that he was about to die before she realized that she was talking to a disguised Odin. Upon learning these saddening news, Odin could do little more than return to Asgard and inform the other gods, all of whom loved Baldur dearly. Frigg was especially shaken by the impending death of her beloved son, and so she went on a quest around the universe, pleading to every entity, creature, and thing not to hurt Baldur. She managed to get all the things in the universe to make an oath not to do any harm to Baldur, and the gods of Asgard were relieved. As a way of celebrating, the gods started playing a game where they threw sticks, rocks, and other things at Baldur, having a laugh at his newfound invulnerability. It was at this point that Loki, the trickster god, decided to make his malicious move, as was in his nature. He asked Frigg if she had really managed to get every single thing in the cosmos to pledge not to harm Baldur, to which he said that the only thing that didn't swear an oath was the mistletoe. As she explained, the mistletoe was so harmless that she felt no need to ask. Loki then went to the mistletoe and made a spear from it, which he then brought back to the other gods. Among these gods was Hodur, a blind god who was thus vulnerable to Loki's trickery. Loki took advantage of the fact that Hodur was being left out from the game due to his blindness, and he offered to give him a branch to throw at Baldur. The branch was the spear, of course, but Hodur had no way of differentiating a branch from the spear's shaft, so he threw it according to Loki's direction. The spear easily made its way through Baldur's body, and he fell dead where he stood. The gods were horrified by this killing, not just because Baldur was beloved, but also because they all knew his death was the harbinger of the cataclysm of Ragnarok. After the initial shock, Frigg asked for one of the gods to go down to the underworld and make an offering to Hel as a way of ransoming Baldur back to their realm. One of Odin's sons, the god Hermod, volunteered for this task. The gods then held a grand funeral for Baldur with all the traditions taken into account. Baldur's pyre was made from his ship, Hringhorni, and the gods gathered to send the pyre out to sea. The ship wouldn't budge, however, and no matter how hard they tried, the gods couldn't force it out of the sand. They thus sought help from Hyrroken, a giant and the strongest entity in the universe. After being summoned, she arrived on her wolf that she reigned with venomous snakes. Hyrroken was able to move the pyre, but not before making the entire world shake. The sight of Baldur's body being brought onto the ship was so devastating that his wife, Nanna, fell dead in her grief. After the fire was lit, Baldur was finally sent on his way. While this grand funeral was taking place, Hermod continued on his journey deep into the underworld. After riding for 9 nights and having to answer to Modgud, the giantess on the river Gjöll, he finally entered Hel's realm. Once he entered Hel's throne room, he saw Hel on her throne and Baldur on a seat next to her. The following morning, Hermod presented his and the other gods' case to Hel. telling her that Baldur was the most beloved god in his realm and that the entire world weeps for him. Hel then presented Hermod with a seemingly simple condition. She said that if Hermod could get every single creature in the cosmos to weep for Baldur, she would let him go back to Asgard. If not, Baldur was going to remain with her forever. With the help of other gods, Hermod was able to send messengers throughout the cosmos and get everyone to weep except the giantess Talk. This giantess was, in fact, the disguised Loki, and his answer was simple. Let Hel hold what she has. This sealed Baldur's fate as an eternal captive of Hel's, robbing the realms of the living of the joy and happiness that he had brought to all. Loki already had a history of conflict with the other gods, of course, but his involvement in the death and subsequent condemnation of Baldur was the final straw. When Loki learned that the gods were out to capture and punish him, he fled to an isolated house on a high mountain peak. He spent his days holed up in this house and hiding in a river, disguised as a salmon. Loki did this when the gods were informed about the location of his hideout by the all-seeing Odin. The gods were onto him, though, and they quickly made a fishing net, and after some difficulty, they managed to catch him. This was primarily thanks to Thor, who caught Loki by his tail fins as he tried to leap one last time toward the sea. The gods gave no quarter to Loki, and their vengeance was merciless. They brought Loki to a cave along with two of his sons, one of whom they turned into a wolf. That brother was then set on the one who was still in human form, tearing him apart while Loki had to watch. The wolf ripped out his former brother's entrails, which the gods then turned into chains with which they tied Loki to 3 great rocks. Loki never repented, and the gods inflicted an additional punishment by putting a venomous snake above him, from where its venom would drip directly on Loki's face. As the legends say, Loki's wife, Sigyn, was there to help him by holding a bowl over his head to catch the poison. The bowl, however, had a limited capacity, so Sigyn had to take it away to empty it periodically. Every time she did this, the poison would fall on Loki's face, making him shake and convulse in pain. This, in turn, is said to be the cause of earthquakes in Midgard, the realm of humans. Loki's punishment was to remain in this horrible state until the time of Ragnarok, when he was destined to break free from bondage and help the giants to destroy the universe. And that is the full story of Baldur's death, Loki's betrayal, and the reason behind earthquakes in Norse mythology. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this tale, don't forget to follow, share, and subscribe so you won't miss the next myth we uncover. Until next time.